So I had a few friends growing up that loved to flex their materialistic things, whether they had a pretty cool car when they turned 16, or maybe they're 21 and they have a pretty sweet house. Well, this stuff always made me feel kind of bad on the inside because I'm like, I work harder than you. I have more jobs than you. I put in more effort than you, but you still are beating me. But in full reality, it's not the truth. You are being absolutely tricked, and I've got the data to prove it. And if you want more of this content, go ahead, hit that subscribe and like button quick. It helps me out a ton, and I'd highly appreciate it since I only have 40 subscribers. Anyway, we need to talk about how and why you are being tricked. So there's a whole backstory on all this, and pretty much everything points to social media. In full reality, the real first flexer was probably Dan Bilzerian. This guy had millions of dollars and he won it fair playing casino games. So this guy was absolutely rich. And I think all of us at, like 10 years old wanted to be just like him. So as we get older, we see more and more of these people flexing their money. And now in 2026, we're seeing people who are like 16 or 17 years old driving either a Ferrari or a really nice Corvette, living in their house, saying that they made their money selling courses. Well, in full reality, this is not the truth. I have a friend who is just like this, doing the exact same thing as you see these people doing on the internet. This guy drove a super cool car, had a house, and pinned it all on his eBay reselling business. So I did a little bit more research into this eBay reselling business, and it found out that his full yearly revenue was like $50,000. And after he bought the products to resell, there is no way he was making that amount. He was probably walking away with like 10 grand a year. So this made me super curious because I was either like, option one, 10 grand a year is a lot of money and you can get a Corvette and a house for that. Or option two, this is all bullshit, right? So I went with option two and I did a little bit more digging. I dug into his property tax and sales history of his house, and then eventually started asking him about his car, where he got really defensive and was trying to claim to me that he bought all of this stuff. But from what I found on his property taxes, he wasn't the one who bought his house. His parents were. And so I think as we get older and older and we see the divide of those who grew up wealthy versus those who didn't, we really start to understand where these people's money come from. So anyway, we have three options here. We have the poor guy, we have the middle class guy, and we have the ultra wealthy. And in full reality, I know all three of these people. So the poor guy, this is the one who had no help growing up. Maybe they went to college and had to take out student loans, and they are fighting for survival. They've done everything right in life, but they just can't seem to get ahead. Next, we have the middle class, where these people may have had help and support from their family, but they did not have enough help and support to get them super nice luxuries in life. They didn't grow up on a golden platter, right? And then we have the ultra wealthy, where these are people whose parents are millionaires or billionaires, and these people just have everything. Anything they want, they have it. Maybe they graduated college and their parents bought them a house. Maybe they were driving a Corvette at 16. Doesn't matter. This is classified as the ultra wealthy. And the ultra wealthy is the class that we typically see. So whether it be Instagram, TikTok, even Facebook, for crying out loud, this ultra wealthy class has to flex their money. I don't understand why, but all of them feel like they need to do it. And after doing a little bit of research psychologically, I learned a couple interesting things. And basically this boils down to this piece of information. Being called rich is an insult for some reason. People don't like to be called rich, and especially if they didn't put in that hard work, they psychologically cannot take it. And so what a lot of people do is they start a fake business that doesn't produce very much money so that they can say that they bought these things from the hard work in the business that they've done. Now, that might not make a lot of sense in the moment, but I just want you to think about it. People whose parents buy them nice things like to say that they bought them themselves because they can't handle the fact of people calling them out on their riches being called daddy's money, right? So this may become more prevalent in your life the older you get. And for example, it really became prevalent to me in college. So in college, I was struggling to pay my bills. I had a car that broke down all the time. It was not a sexy car. It was a very, very old truck. And I had friends who were living right down the street who were driving $100,000 cars. And I was like, wait a minute, this can't be right. We have worked the same amount, or I have worked more than you, and you have a nicer car than me? How did this happen, right? Because at the time, I was carrying like 3 or 4 jobs at a time just to make my bills get paid. So I was like, how do you not have a job but have a nicer car than me? And so after I've done all this research, you come to realize the older you get that people didn't work for these things themselves. A lot of people, especially in high school and college, have very, very nice items, and they're carrying around their parents' credit card to pay for things like insurance, gas, a night out with friends. And so in full reality, if you don't have these things, you are not behind. Just the way the world is set up and structured is made to make you feel like you are. Trust me, you know if you're doing everything right, and especially if you're comparing yourselves to others and you're both putting in the hard work, you know that you are doing everything right. So I guess to wrap this up entirely, you are not behind. You definitely are not behind. And if you feel that you are, you need to delete social media. Delete Instagram, TikTok, and even YouTube. I know that means I won't get as many views, but if you feel like this, it is a mental health crisis and you need to delete all social media ASAP. And if you have friends who try to flex their wealth and you know that wealth isn't theirs, don't even waste the brain cells trying to call them out on this. Just stop being friends with them, guys. Seriously, it's 2026. Build your own path, build your future, and be successful your way. Appreciate y'all for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.